Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Something Something podcast. My name is Eric Kasloff, and with me, as always, is Larry Sands. Say hello, Larry.
Hello, Larry.
That joke never gets old.
It doesn't, does it?
Hey,
You would think that because, I listen kind of like to our podcast every once in a while when I want to hear you and me
listen
talk.
to it?
Well, no, maybe just the beginning when I'm copying links and stuff, but it never gets old. I mean, it's like you come in with welcome to the something, something, and then hello, Larry. So it never gets old. I hope.
I don't want anyone to think, we know it gets old. We know. We haven't just beaten this horse. We've done awful things to it.
Oh man, we've bared it so many times. It's not even funny. But hey, on a lighter note, so guess what? I did.
Yeah, tell everybody.
I did. I switched. Well, not switched because I still do Final Cut.
Why?
Because I'm more comfortable with it. But I am challenging myself because again, so everybody that's listened to this podcast and heard me talk about this Christian film that I did, and now it's come down to the wire. It's almost in October. I have to get it ready for some film markets. So, I mean, really, there's no bigger learning curve than being under the gun and trying to get something done and being creative and making it. I know I can make it look good. So it's just, but I switched over to Premiere. That was my thing. So.
Woo!
Yay!
I am so proud of you. You're a man now.
I am. I'm a boy who became a man. Wait, never mind.
Yeah. But so I went through some stuff with you, and are you getting the workflow down? You're starting to dig it?
Oh yeah. And it's kind of like Avid where, like you just go and you just kind of fiddle around with it. It's different in a way. Obviously like, some of the shortcuts and stuff, how Final Cut, but they're all the same, like, J, K, and L, and
yeah,
and there's the B or the C, the cut.
My biggest problem with what was the biggest one? I forget the name of it. You just said it.
Avid.
It's such an ugly interface.
No comment.
It's not pleasant to look at all.
Now, I must say with the Premiere, because I have a Mac, I use Mac, so I'm used to like, and Premiere seems a little bit PC to me, which is neither here nor there. But I mean that's the wave of the future, man, because nobody wants to work with 10 anymore.
Yeah.
So, but I think in order you watch Final Cut will come back, and
no, it won't.
Yeah, it will.
Dude, no.
It will. Hey, how is the writing coming?
The writing is going very well for Hillsborough Road. The script has changed some points. Like, I'll just get it out right now. It started off being set in the 80s, which would have been cool because I wanted to cut off the safety of technology.
Yeah.
Then I thought, you know what? I'm more of a 90s kid. Pretty much same dialogue. Then I was like, you know what? No, I want to be able to make it. So again, same dialogue, same locations. It's set nowadays, Hillsborough Road, but I'm using technology for it. I'm, like cell phones are a big part of it now. I just got Final Draft 11.
Yeah.
Final Draft doesn't play well with other screenwriting softwares. So I had to manually copy and paste half of the script into Final Draft. And that it was 45 pages.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but hey, here's the funny story I want to tell before we get to our guest.
Uh-huh.
So, like I've been talking on the show a lot, and if you look at my Twitter and Facebook, I got a puppy named Chewy, who is the greatest Yorkie in the world. Mm-hmm. So he hates it when I'm on my computer or playing video games. So he gets under my desk a lot, and I noticed 3 weeks ago that my laptop wasn't turning on. And I am terrified because all my work is on there. You know, the podcast is because of this, my editing.
Right.
And I don't have a car, so I had no way to go get it help. Finally, one of my uncles come and take me to Staples. They said their tech support was open till 10. We get there at 9. I'm like, please help I'm acting like someone whose friend just got shot, and I'm yelling at the ER, just help him. So finally, the dude checks my computer, plugs the battery charger in, turns it on, and it turns on. Now, hey, I just want to say, Staples, you hire good people, because it could have been so easy for them to go, hey, we got to take this to the back, and then come out and tell me it's going to cost a couple $100. But, you know, they were honest folks, so I really dug that about them. But, yeah, man.
Wait a minute. Wait. So what you just described to me, you could have just plugged it in?
I didn't know that, though.
Wait. No, is it just a yes or no?
Yes. But here's the thing. It was plugged in, but I have, like, you know, one of those long strip things, like a surge protector.
It wasn't even turned on.
That wasn't on. The surge, and I called you, telling you about this. Right?
Oh man, you were like, you were in knots, man. You were for a while. That's hilarious. You were in knots. I remember you were just like, oh man, my computer, I just don't know. I'm like, oh man. And then then when you call me, I was oh God, the way. Oh, Eric, wait a minute. Now you're the same person that told me all about Premiere and being number one.
You shouldn't take anything I say.
You're absolutely right.
When the computer's on, I know how to use it.
Note to self. That's amazing. Actually, so I'm kind of excited this week because, you know, we've been really fortunate. Like the people that we've been interviewing and stuff. Yes. And we've been interviewing a lot of authors, right? And novelists. And I'm kind of excited to talk about, we have one of us on the show this week, right? He's a filmmaker, and he's not only a filmmaker, right? Hi, Jordan. How are you?
How you doing, guys?
How's it going, Jordan? Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yes. Thank you for being on the show, first and foremost.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for staying on after hearing about how dumb we were during the first 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. Wait.
I could relate to that so much.
Look, Jordan, here's the thing. So last week he had a funny little story, and this time he had a funny little story, and it's funny. It happened to him. And he says how dumb we are, and I have no part.
Dude, I have stacks. I could fill up the Grand Canyon with dumb things you've done.
I think we must have all been there. Technology it's advancing at such a high level. How can we possibly keep up? You know,
that's one thing, right? I would understand, because I do like a lot of audio visual stuff, and the guy I'm working with, like editing and stuff, he doesn't understand that there is that.
Yeah, you don't speak code.
Right. and it's kind of like, you know, and that's the one thing that bugs me about technology is really, I can honestly say it's never me, because I do the right steps, I take the right, and it's just, it makes the person doing it, makes them look bad. But then when somebody else comes, it's so annoying. And that's the one thing about technology. It kills me.
I got to say this one thing, ask you guys something before we get deep into the interview. How many of you, whenever something's wrong with a relative's like computer or something, you're the first one they come to?
Anything.
My hand's up.
anything, video, audio. I'm like, I don't know how to work that. I don't know how to do that. I have my own problems over here. My computer's not turning on.
This actually happened to me when my grandma died like over a year ago. I was super depressed because we were ridiculously close. So I'm in my room crying. Funny thing, that same day I found out I got into one of the biggest film festivals I was ever in. But Jordan, you still there? Okay.
I'm still here, yeah.
So right before all of that awesome stuff, I walk out of my living room and I see a relative that I haven't seen since over 10 years. And instead of comforting me and making me feel better, his first words were, "Could you fix my Instagram?"
Oh my God.
Maybe that was their way of comforting you, trying to bring some light.
Yeah. Can you do this for me?
That's right. Now, Jordan, you have a little doggy, right? You have a little puppy.
I'm sorry, yeah. She just yelled.
So she can be on the show. Is it he or she?
She. Her name is Mila.
So she can be on the show too.
We should do another podcast just with the three of our dogs.
Just dogs. Yeah. We don't say anything.
That's right.
You know, if we just put them on with our cameras, we'll get more views than we've ever had.
Probably, yeah.
The Wuff podcast.
Yeah.
Anything. So Jordan, once again, obviously, you know, we like to have a lot of fun here and stuff and talk about creative stuff too. Tell us a little bit about, because I know you're a slashy, right? Or you're a hyphen. You're an actor, director. What all are you?
Yeah. So I went to Chapman University in Orange County. They have a great film school there. The Duffer Brothers came out of there. They're probably the most famous people.
They kind of have a hit TV show, right? Not that big of a hit, a cult TV show.
Cult TV show, yeah. But it's kind of like they've hit the zeitgeist with Stranger Things, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, great film school there. I was a screenwriting major. They had a new acting program at the time that I auditioned for. Got into that, did the acting thing through graduation, and moved to LA. Was a struggling actor, got a few things here and there, was working in a restaurant, and I realized that I just wanted to make my own stuff. Everything I was working on, even if I wrote it, if I gave it to another director, as talented as they were, it just wasn't coming out the way I thought it would. So I figured, start making my own stuff. I opened up a credit card, and I basically made a thesis film, 2 years out of college. And it was terrible. And so about 2 years later, I got inspired to make another one. And this time I did a little Kickstarter campaign, got some of the money for it. I did open another credit card, and went ahead and made this short film. But hopefully it has a longer life, because my producing partners and we wanted to make a proof of concept short film. Which is basically like the first 10 pages of a feature-length movie. So that's what we're pitching it as. And it just got accepted to the San Diego Film Festival. And
congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you, yeah. So we'll see what happens, but that's where I'm at right now. What was tricky about this one is that it was a Spanish language film. And I don't speak Spanish fluently. I am Latino, but I'm sort of Mexican by association, because my girlfriend is Mexican and Guatemalan, and I've worked in Mexican restaurants for years since graduating. So, directing that was a little bit of a undertaking, but we're excited that it finally got in somewhere where it does have a Latino community and close proximity to Mexico, where the film
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Is this your first film festival?
It is, yeah.
Dude, you never forget your first film festival. It is one of the most amazing times you'll ever have.
Awesome. I'm glad.
When you get that laminate, oh, dude, you feel like you're king of the world. You can skip lines in front of people. It's awesome. You're going to dig it, man.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
It's funny, or I don't know, ironic maybe, but you went to school. and you made your thesis film out of school, out of college, but you said it was terrible. Why?
It wasn't ready to be made into a movie, meaning the script wasn't there. I just wanted to make something so bad. As long as I wrote it, and as long as I could act in it, and as long as I was directing it, I would spend any amount of money to have that experience.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what I did. And afterwards, I had to look at it as objectively as I can, because is that possible to do with something you made? But it just doesn't really make sense. The production quality isn't really there. But rather than let that defeat us, I think you do need to take it into the next project, which is, hopefully what we do each time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's for sure. I know some stinkers that I've done. And but you really do have to look at it and be like, okay, I get it. And then other people are going to look at it and they're going to be like, okay, and like, no, it's cool, man. I'm okay with it, right? Because you learn, and I think that's the hardest part, or maybe not the hardest, but maybe one of the most interesting parts of being a filmmaker is, you don't get to, well, maybe some people do, but a lot of, creatives, because we get jobs and we got to support ourselves and this and that and the other thing. But a lot of creative people don't get the opportunity to always work on their craft. So when they do, it's kind of like, like a run and gun, learn as you go type thing. And if you are fortunate enough to have something under your belt where you can look at it objectively and say, wow, here's what I would do different. Oh, wait, I would keep that because that's good, and be able to look at things like that. So I think that's important. But I thought it was very interesting that you would say you came right out of college and said, you made something. But I can definitely understand where you're coming from.
So
with that
we
statement.
kind of went to the middle of the story.
Yeah.
You're like, so we're gonna do now is we're gonna go to the beginning and then come back around and talk about the current project. So what made you what made you decide to do film? Like, what inspirations did you have as a kid, and where are you originally from?
Yeah, so I'm from Long Island, New York.
Awesome. You are right in my cool book.
Awesome. I was hoping I was, and I share your technological woes. So hopefully I'll stay there.
I'm a Jersey guy, so whenever I talk to people from the East Coast, especially New York, because Jersey is the sixth borough. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. It is, or Long Island.
Yeah.
Sixth, seventh, I don't know. But yeah, when I say Long Island, people who aren't familiar with it, they think it's like just like another borough or like an extension of the city, but I'm actually pretty far out east on Long Island to where it was almost like farmland, except you're on the water. It's like a little seaside town. There are vineyards way out east. There are actual farms. I grew up right near one. And then there are little ports that are across the way from Connecticut. And in the summertime, my friends and I would go on each other's boats. We would go wakeboarding in this little bay. And we would, entering the bay, you had to pull in very slowly because you couldn't make a wake in the middle of the harbor. And doing that, you would see all these amazing houses that were built all around the bay. And when I was like 13 or 14, after I would hang out with my friends in the summertime, I would go home and I would start to like write our experience. It wasn't anything. It was just like describing all of the scenery in very pedantic detail and all of that. And then I started to shape the story from there. But every time I continued to work on it, it kind of started to take the form of a screenplay before I even knew how to write a screenplay.
Okay.
And rather than a novel. And then I discovered like Final Draft. I don't know what number it was. It was like Final Draft 7 or something at the time. And started to look up how to write a screenplay. And, you know, I'm 14, 15 years old at this time. And then by the end of that summer, I think I had written my first feature.
Awesome.
Which, you know, took place in this little seaside town and was just about kids that wanted to earn enough money to buy one of these houses to call their own. That was the dream when I was 15.
I dig that. That's so familiar to a lot of the stories we've heard. Did you just start picking up a camera then and start filming anything and everything?
Exactly. Yeah. So the high school I went to is called Ward Melville High School, and they had a great video production program where they introduced you first to iMovie and then Final Cut. It was like Final Cut 7 or Final Cut Legacy, whichever number that is. And
Legacy was the ones they would give to schools.
Yeah. So that was it.
Yeah.
And yeah, you get a camera, and then I bought my own camera with whatever jobs I was working and would try to film. I think I shot a scene from that story I was writing right on the bay there. And it looked really pretty, but it probably sounded awful and didn't make sense. But, you know, it was just the magic of filmmaking that I was obsessed with. And then, of course, going to Blockbuster when they were still around and going.
Oh, I missed that. Oh, there is a documentary coming out you guys got to check out called The Last Blockbuster, which is all about the last blockbuster in America.
You know, I saw a promotion for that, and yeah, it looks awesome. And it's funny to think people, you know, who were born, I guess you'd call them, well, I guess we're millennials, but people who were born post 2000 probably wouldn't know what a blockbuster is.
Yeah. Yep. Sad but true.
But yeah, so I would just scour the shelves there for, you know, any important filmmaker that I had heard, whether it was Coppola, Scorsese, you know, De Palma, anyone that sounded important to me when I was 15, I would go to Blockbuster and try to find their movies and just watch them 100 times and wear out the disc. You know, you can see all the scratches on it after. And just
see, me and Larry go back to getting VHS tapes. Blockbuster.
Yeah. Yeah, they had them when I was a little kid, but then they moved over to DVD. It's funny. I remember like one day we just walked in and there was like one shelf of DVDs, and then the next week they like had all DVDs.
I didn't think DVD would make it. I honestly thought it was going to be like Laserdisc.
Yeah.
Now look at my bookshelf.
Yeah. And there was HD, right? And BluRay.
HD, that was the war went on with them. But Sony won out because of video games, and the porn industry decided to go with BluRay.
Huh. Yeah, my friend had invested. He was like, this is when we were seniors in high school and going to film school, and he's like, HD is going to win out. The casing is so much cooler. It's red. Blu-ray is blue. It's too on the nose, and he lost big time.
Well, like in the 80s, the big war was Betamax and VHS, and Betamax was the better format. Even till today, like news cameras use Betamax tapes.
Yeah.
So what movies specifically made you go, okay, this is what I'm doing?
So at the time, and it's so funny that he's become the movie star he is, but I had seen The Notebook with Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams. And so that came out in 2004. I was 14, and I remember all the girls in my school were all excited about it, and it was the biggest chick flick, right? And no guy would ever be caught having seen or admitted seeing the movie, but I was like, what is all of this fuss about, you know? So I watched it, and it honestly, it blew me away. Like, it transported me to, I think it takes place in like Charleston, South Carolina in 1940. It just transported me there. And I thought the love story was, really beautiful. And I think Ryan Gosling, even when I watch it back, is so good in it.
He was
And
great in that
Yeah.
movie.
he's so good because any other actor, and there have been a lot of other Nicholas Sparks or Nicholas Sparks-esque films like that, and those actors don't really come out of that or do much else after it. But I watched it and I just knew both of them, Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling, were going to go on to have these illustrious careers that they have had, especially Ryan Gosling. So that was big for me. And then I don't know how I came onto it, but Big Fish, Tim Burton's Big Fish at the
Yeah,
time,
that
it
was
came out
good.
as well.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite Tim Burton movies because I think the script was written by John August.
Was it?
So,
Wow.
yeah, it was written by John August. I think it was a short story that was adapted by John August, but basically Tim Burton and John August sort of harnessed each other's energies there, where, Tim Burton might have taken something a little bit farther. I think John August's screenplay just in of itself was able to harness his energy a bit. So between The Notebook and Big Fish, I was really in love with these period piece sort of romantic, sweeping love stories. And that's how I was trying to craft the story about seeing the houses all around the bay and picturing what life must have been like on Long Island in the 1940s.
Wow.
I think there is a reason there is a reason that that Nicholas Sparks movie is so it's just been around for so long, and I do think it's a big part because of Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling. So I just want to throw that in there. But also, you said some about period pieces, and what was it like? I don't know if this had anything to do with it, but being mentored by Chaz Palminteri, because he was in a pretty big period piece, a Bronx Tale.
Yes. Chaz Palminteri is awesome. He is an awesome guy. He is part of a program called the Manhattan Film Institute that it's a summer program in Greenport, Long Island, which is like the farthest northern fork of Long Island, farthest east you could go. And he and a professor of mine at Chapman named Tony Spiridakis created this program to get filmmakers, actors, writers, all working together and learning from each other. It's like a 2-week intensive. And as a writer, actor, you could go and workshop your script, get scenes on its feet with other actors, get some feedback, all under the mentorship of Chaz Palminteri.
So kind of like Sundance Institute East in a lot of ways?
Exactly, yeah. Similar model to that. And what's interesting about Chaz is that, he's had so much life with Bronx Tale. I think it's on Broadway again right now.
Yeah, there's a revival of it.
Yeah, I saw the Broadway show, I think last winter, like Christmas 2016, and I think it's back now on Broadway again. So he's done really well with that one. It was just huge when it came out. But it's so funny because everyone, myself included, you think Chaz is going to be Sonny from A Bronx Tale. That guy. And he talks like that just because of his accent, because he's from the Bronx. But he's the most like gentle, open-minded, spiritual, almost hippie-like artist.
Wow.
And it kind of took me by surprise, but I was so glad to learn that because the stories he took to were, they weren't specifically, Italian American or gangster genre. He just took to whatever moved him as an artist. And I was like, oh yeah, this guy's a classically trained theater performer. This guy comes from the actor studio. He's just open to whatever moves him. And that was really cool to see that even Chaz isn't just his persona.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Did you get to did you get to direct him or like talk to him about well, gosh, I guess about what it's like, or did he have any stories
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
tell?
so we didn't get to direct him. Basically, you would bring in, like 10 pages at a time. You'd read it in front of everyone, and then, you'd maybe put the scripts down, get some actors to improvise it. Chaz would improvise, so you might be acting across from Chaz. That was pretty cool.
Wow.
And then at the end of the program, he sort of did a wine night where we all sat around the table and got to pick his brain for like 2 hours.
Oh man.
He had a ton of stories, and he just kept saying, I wish I could take what's in here in my head and put it into yours, because there are so many things. But I don't know if you guys have found this being in the business for so long, but no matter what advice you ask about, I met Ryan Gosling actually, and I asked him for some advice too.
Whoa.
And no matter what, if you meet your idols or whoever and you ask for some specific tidbit or advice, they always say some version of just do the work. Just do the work,
Yeah.
do good work. Don't let the business get you down. Do the work and good things will come, is pretty much what I keep hearing from all of these people. And that was very much Chaz's thing. I asked him, I said, is New York better? Is LA better for an actor? What do you think? He goes, wherever you feel most creative, wherever you're going to do your best work, wherever
Nice.
you're going to feel like you're financially supported, wherever you're going to feel like you're inspired, whether that's a weather thing or a friends thing or a network thing, a creativity thing. Just go wherever you feel like the best work is going to be. And that's scary for some people because you may not have lived in LA before. So how do you know? You're not going to know until you get there.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important thing too, that I wish filmmakers would talk more about, because it seems like once you reach a certain level of success, people become very precious with information. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like some kind of club you join, and you're going to like ruin your mystique if you let people in on your secrets or something.
Well, I think real quick, so it's funny you should say, because Ryan ONeill, he was married to Farrah Fawcett and all that.
Yeah.
I had an opportunity because when I was in LA, I was working with Josh at the film school. And
Okay. Larry's brother, Josh. You're saying it like everyone.
oh yeah. But
Josh,
yeah. And he
Josh.
yeah. I was like, I wanted to see if he could come in. Yeah. I wanted to see if he could come in and talk to our actors, because we had both actors and filmmakers, right, in our program. And I shit you not, I walk up to him and he looked me. I said, "Hi, Mr. ONeill. I'd like to see if you'd like to come in and talk to our young actors and filmmakers about this." And he looked right dead in my eye and he goes, "Don't do it." I said, "I'm sorry." He said, "Tell him to leave. Tell him to go home. Don't do it." I was like, whoa, that guy is hardcore. I mean, honestly, he's been through a lot. And to add to what you were just saying, I think a lot of filmmakers and actors, when they get to a certain level, they have to trust people in their life that are not necessarily yes people. But when you start working on a crew and you find people that you trust and that you gel with, you become very protective, because you don't want outside forces getting into that cohesive, creative thing, the synergy. And I think that's why Steven Spielberg and George Lucas and all those guys, everybody, even like Kevin Smith, they all have people that they can trust, and they've worked with them. That's why they can trust them. And this is, I know for me, being like a filmmaker and working with different people, you really learn like how to handle those situations where it's hard. I know for me it's hard because like you're not working with a whole lot of money and you can't really pay people. But when you do, you're like wanting somebody to come in and be really professional, but then they come in and it's kind of like they kind of, you know, it's just
It's there.
yeah. And I think that could maybe be a reason. But again, I mean, you know, I and of course I guess I'm not at the level of like, you know, Steven Spielberg or whatever, but I think when you find those people that you work with really, really well and just get along, you tend to hang on to them and be a little bit protective because of their creativity and what they bring to your friendship and everything else. Because it's hard. You know, I would imagine it's hard with all the outside pressures of, you know, everybody wanting something from you. And so it's very refreshing, you know, to hear about Chaz Palminteri when I have the Ryan O'Neill story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? That those are two different settings too. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I wonder how Chaz would be in that setting when he's not scheduled to speak or just not in that mindset. And I think what you're getting at is very accurate. It probably does take a certain level of trust with the people you work with, and you want to protect that. And it's definitely seems like a balancing act. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I think Matt Damon said that there's no way you could possibly prepare for fame or success or whatever it is. And it's not, everyone thinks you change, you know, like
Right.
all of a sudden overnight you change. And he's like, I didn't change. Everyone's perception about me changed.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in a way, all of you have changed, and now I'm
Right.
reacting to that change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like that Joe Walsh song. I forget what it is. I have a mansion. I don't live in it. They tell me it's nice. And
Yeah, right.
I forget what it, but I love the song because it's like he talks about, that's what fame is. He's got like cars. He lost his license. He doesn't drive. He's got a mansion he's never been in. You know, they said it's nice. And he says, the people around me say I've changed, but I haven't changed, you know? And it's weird, man, because, you know, and again, I'd like to get to a level where I could say, hey, you know, you guys have all changed, right?
Yeah,
But,
we could all like pontificate about it here.
right,
But
right,
watch, we
right,
become the biggest, you know, curmudgeons once we
right.
reach any level of success.
I
So,
know.
Jordan, what was your family like? Were they supportive of you wanting to go this route or not?
Um, you know, so my parents got separated when I was pretty young,
Oh,
and they had a mostly healthy relationship. I saw both of them. I lived with my mom, but I would see my dad regularly. And the thing about most people from Long Island, I don't know if this is your case, Eric, coming from Jersey, but no one leaves Long Island.
yeah.
And if they do, they like go to the other side of the world. Like they just need to get out. And that's how I felt about California, especially when I knew I wanted to be a screenwriter or filmmaker. And I think that scared my parents. They were supportive, you know, creatively, spiritually, all of that. But I think just physically, they were nervous for me to go to the other side of the country. So it's funny deciphering your parents' language. They would try to, you know, advise me to go to closer schools, even if they weren't as good, or, you know, but still under the guise of being supportive. And there was a point where I was actually rejected to Chapman University, my senior year of high school, when everyone knew where they wanted to go. I had friends being accepted to NYU and USC and, you know, whatever other at Columbia, some kids were going to, and I was rejected to my number one school, which was Chapman. And I was scheduled to go to Drexel University, which is in Philadelphia. And
Okay.
they have a good screenwriting program there, but I went to visit and I just couldn't picture myself there. And I remember pleading with my dad at the time. I said, I'm going to Chapman, I'm going to change their minds. And he's like, what do I do with this very angsty teenager who won't take no for an answer? And I think part of it was because he didn't want to see, I think he thought I was becoming delusional because I still pictured myself in Southern California, and he didn't want reality to come crashing down on me. And he also wanted me to go to a school nearby. And
which is understandable. I mean,
of course,
if I had kids, I would want the same thing,
Of course, yeah. And they're really great parents in that way, where they just want to protect you and have you be the best version of yourself and set you up for success. So when you rebel against that as a kid, it's like, I could see how it messes up their plan. They're like, I'm trying to do this for you and you're messing it up. But with that said, I did go on the Chapman website, and I don't know how I found out about this. I think I was just like desperately poking around. At the bottom of a lot of college websites, like any school that has a .edu link, you could go to the bottom and there are little tiny hidden links, and some of them will have something called appeal process. And if you click on that, it takes you to another page about appealing a school's decision to reject you or waitlist you or whatever. And usually it's, you have to create a new application. You basically apply again, and you have to basically tell them what prevented you from showcasing your best work or your best grades in the fall. And usually those things are extraordinary circumstances, like a death in the family or illness. I didn't have any of those. I just wanted to go to their film school really bad. So I appealed their decision, and through a lot of arduous steps, I finally got in. I was able to reverse their decision in like May of my senior year, and went to Chapman University that fall.
So like places like Syracuse and things like that were never an option for you? Because I heard they have a pretty good film program in Syracuse.
I didn't get in.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I didn't get in. I applied to like 12 schools, like Ithaca, Syracuse, Emerson, Drexel, USC, NYU, Chapman. And Chapman, I don't know why it was my number one. I knew it was a smaller school. I knew it wasn't in LA. It still had that small town kind of feel. And I don't know, I just had like a calling there. And I'm really glad I made it happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you move out from Long Island, you move to the big city of Chapman. What was your first time in LA like? Were you able to adapt pretty quick? Because I moved out there when I was a teenager, and it took me a long time to adapt to everything, man.
Same, yeah. I did not adapt quickly. And so you're from Jersey. Larry, where are you from?
Originally from Texas.
Okay. So must have been a culture shock for you too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think because obviously Texas is one thing, but even Jersey is kind of like Texas. It's a little rural, but even like Long Island. I
might as well have grown up in any small town, any, state.
Right. Because, number one, Los Angeles. This is always like, that's one thing that I really like about LA is you can leave for any amount of time. Like when you live there, you can leave and go somewhere else for a month, 2, maybe a year and a half. But as soon as you're back into LA, it seems like you never really left.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's so weird.
Because it's constantly in the process of changing. I guess any city is like that, like if you
not really. Like New York they have that energy, and it's the hustle, and it's even more fast paced. To me, New York is like, oh man,
Totally.
Right? And LA it's the same kind of thing.
That's more Manhattan. Everybody, when they, like Brooklyn is pretty laid back for the most part.
Yeah, because I was gonna, because like like LA is like it's hustle and bustle, but it's so laid back.
Yeah,
And
it's a weird city to live in, definitely. And the thing about Chapman is that it's about 40 minutes south of LA. So first I had to acclimate to Orange County,
right,
which Chapman's a small town. Like there's a little circle, a little plaza, and they have the most antique shops of like any other city in Orange County or something like that. So it's a small town, but from me, coming from my small town on Long Island, going to Orange County, it felt big to me because on Long Island, there aren't big sweeping freeways,
right,
right next to your house,
right.
unless, you live in Nassau County, closer to the city. But where I live, there were 2-lane highways, they were called, and it's just in a canopy of greenery. So moving to Orange County, you're just surrounded by these roller coaster looking freeways. And that's supposed to be your small town. Now it does look like a small town to me when I visit from Los Angeles, but it really did mess with my head. I missed the season change. In October, it just gets hotter in Southern California.
Weird.
So actually this time of year is when I'm most homesick because my body's just waiting for the weather to change, and I'm waiting to like not have to be in blazing heat when you're walking from your car to a store or something.
Right.
So it took me a while, and these are things that artists don't talk about, moving out when you try to be a struggling actor or whatever, how you adjust to a new town. It's all about like, oh, the passion will just take you through, which eventually it does. But when you're 17, 18 years old, first time away from home, it's a pretty scary place to be in.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and you can watch Entertainment all you want, and Entertainment Tonight, and all the Real Housewives of Orange County all you want, but nothing. It's the shock. It's the
Not
shock and
home.
awe of it all.
This is something I always ask East Coast people who lived in LA for a time. How long did it take you to acclimate to crappy LA pizza and Chinese food?
I don't get it. I just don't order it here. It becomes something special when I go back home. And it sounds silly, but that's actually part of acclimating
It
somewhere.
is big time, man.
You can't you have to take things at face value and take in your surroundings, because if you're looking to replace or substitute things that you're familiar with in a different location, you're always going to be let down.
Yeah, you can.
But if you welcome what the city does have to offer, then you'll be pleasantly surprised. And then you'll enjoy the pizza and Chinese food when you go back home.
Yeah,
That's right.
because it's like, man, there was no good pizza. And I hated when Hollywood Boulevard had New York style pizza. I was like, no, it's not.
Wait, that's not real?
Dude, not even.
That's faux pizza in Hollywood, even that's make believe?
Yeah, I mean, like,
It's not even real pizza. It's not food.
No, like, dude, what would you do for like a slice from Joe's right now in Brooklyn?
Yeah, luckily, I know it's not the same thing, but I live in the Fairfax district, which is, it's a pretty trendy place right now. Just in the past couple of years here in LA, it's where they have like the Supreme stores. And
Yeah, I know the area. Right by Cantor's and all that stuff.
Exactly, yeah. So I live like adjacent to Fairfax, which is where Cantor's is. There's a pizza spot there called Prime Pizza. I'm going to plug them because they do a pretty good slice. It's not the same, but it's definitely satisfying if you're craving pizza.
And the thing is, like, Cantor's cannot compare to Katz or any local deli in the city.
That's exactly the thing. Any, like, the worst of the worst bagel place in Jersey or the city or Long Island is going to be better than the best one here.
Well, the thing is, we're going to be on this topic for a while, Larry.
Yeah.
There's no character to their ovens because they're brand new. Like
What was that?
Joe's, that oven has been there since I think the 40s. So
Oh,
there's
yeah,
space baked into it.
yeah,
All those, hip, trendy places, there's nothing, there's no flavor in the oven.
yeah. That's a good point. It's not just the water; it's the actual equipment you're using.
Exactly. So speaking of food, when you eat food, you gotta wash dishes, right, guys?
Oh, that's right. That's good.
So, so the big thing, you've got a Kickstarter up right now. Tell us about your film that you're all hyped up about, and that's getting into film festivals.
Well, we did the Kickstarter. We launched it.
Oh, okay.
The film is called The Dishwasher, El Lavaplatos, because it is a Spanish language film. And it's a story inspired by true events. It took place in Rocky Point, Mexico, which is a pretty touristy town. It's pretty safe for tourists to go, but a lot of people don't know that it does have a heavy cartel presence there in the city. And this story was told to me basically about a young family, a husband and wife, a son, and they go to have a celebratory dinner. The father's just been promoted from dishwasher to line cook, and so he takes his family out to a fancier place than they're used to going. And he receives a sinister message from the local cartel there. And without spoiling anything, it basically forces the family into a fight or flight situation. And this celebration is obviously over. And as the walls continue to close in on this family, eventually it culminates in a plot for revenge. And what we did with this short film, which is unique, but we're trying to follow a model that some filmmakers are using to success, which is the proof of concept idea. Which is, if you have a feature length idea or a pilot TV show or some long form concept, you film a little bit of it and sort of use it as a teaser to entice producers or agents, managers, whoever to jump on board with
Like
you.
what Sam Raimi did with Into the Woods, leading to The Evil Dead and stuff like that.
Right. I think even Damien Chazelle is like the big
Yeah, with
model.
Whiplash. Yeah,
Yeah. So Damien Chazelle had Whiplash. It went to Sundance.
a Jersey boy, by the way.
Is Damien Chazelle from Jersey?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that. I know he went to Harvard, right?
I believe so. Yes.
He seems like a smart guy.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah, we're trying to follow that model where you have a proof of concept film, which is essentially a little teaser, but it also works as a short film. There's a beginning, middle, and end. And we launched the Kickstarter for it a year ago, summer 2017. We raised about half the money there, and I put the other half on credit cards, and we went and shot it Labor Day weekend 2017, finished the film by Christmas time, and we only submitted to about 8 festivals, the 8 hardest ones to get into. Normally, people will submit to like 60 different film festivals, everything from the tier ones to the regionals to the local, we just wanted to really zero in on where we thought the film would screen well at.
Because your premiere does matter when it comes to film festivals, where you decide to premiere.
Yeah, and with the first film I had mentioned earlier, I did the like 20 film festival thing or 25 film festivals, and you wind up spending like $1,000 because the entry fees are anywhere from $25 to $100 depending on when you submit. I think it got into 1, but by that time it didn't matter. That festival didn't mean anything. So we had a connection with the Slamdance Film Festival, which is like the spin-off of Sundance.
The redheaded stepson of Sundance.
Exactly, yeah. But even now it's become a big deal. I think Christopher Nolan had like Memento screen there, and so he's heavily involved with it still. But anyway, we had a connection because it's tricky with festivals. It's very political, where sometimes your film doesn't even get viewed when you submit it, depending on the festival. Like a new thing that festivals are marketing is that we actually view your film. And it's like, what? Like, shouldn't you? Like, I'm paying $50.
It's like when you hear McDonald's say now 100% beef, it's like, what was going on before?
Exactly, yeah. It's that kind of idea. So anyway, Slamdance, their thing is that they watch every single submission from beginning to end, which is great. I totally get why film festivals just don't have the man or woman power to do it. You know, they just can't rifle through all of them. So anyway, we were all gung-ho about Slamdance. Our connection said it made it pretty far in the rounds there, but ultimately they didn't program it. And that was a huge blow because our timeline was sort of based on that. Slamdance it happened January 2018. And we all thought we were going to be there. We basically thought we were a lock, which we were not, because there's no such thing as being a lock. So the year went on, and South by didn't take it, Tribeca didn't take it, you know, Toronto, and then eventually we were just going to post it online. I was going to be like, you know, I'm tired of waiting for these festivals. Let's just post it online. Let's run like a really grassroots internet campaign, just like we did with the Kickstarter. Because we hit our Kickstarter goal in 10 days. We had like a 30-day window, and we hit it in 10 days. So people were really responding to it. And at this time, I felt, you know, obviously not that the film was a failure, but that our strategy had failed. And the only thing that kept me going was everyone we sent the film to, they really liked it. We were getting good feedback, not just from our friends, like industry people. So I knew that I made the film I wanted to make and that other people were into it. So I was pretty excited to post it online. And then I think the week I decided to go with that idea to post it online and run a whole campaign, San Diego called me and said awesome. They programmed it.
That's cool.
It's funny how it happened.
Yeah. Okay. I have a story with rejection letters from film festivals. What was the worst rejection letter you got?
Well, when I first started with the first film I submitted, I like the rejection letters that tell you in like the first 2 lines, because if it's a long letter, it usually means you didn't get in. And I just read one, I think like ours didn't get into Portland or something. It did get into Bend, which is a cool little festival that I'm excited about as well. But I got a really long email, and it didn't say that it was rejected until like the 5th paragraph. And I was like, you know, so I appreciate the brevity, but all of them are pretty, you know, they're worded very carefully. They're very, you know, somewhat inspirational, and they're always like, consider us in the future. So you know, you could pay for another entry fee.
Yeah.
All right, get this, man. I got rejected from the Southern Shorts Festival. Now, my short film, her name was Samantha. With credits, it's 3 minutes long. And it's a horror movie. I'm a genre filmmaker. So the Southern Shorts rejected us because...
Now, this is for the short, right? This is for the short category.
Because we are especially short.
Right.
So then we go down the rabbit hole. We find out, let's say you spent like $5,000 to make your short and you win an award. You'd be happy about that, right?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Well, with the Southern Shorts, that trophy you got, I could buy the same trophy for $100 and put my name on the nameplate that I won the best short film of that year.
Yeah.
Literally, you could go on their website and you can have them print out a certificate and a trophy. You could buy yourself a trophy.
You could call the company that probably makes the plaques.
Right.
No, they'll do it for you. The festival will do it for you.
Well, that's not a rejection, right? Or that was rejected and you found that out after?
No, we get rejected, then me and Larry get on the mic for a podcast,
Oh,
and we
man.
go over their webpage.
Gotcha.
We go to the shop section, and you could, from them, buy an official trophy, and they'll put your name and movie on it as winning the best film of that year, even if you didn't enter a movie into it.
That's worse than a participation trophy because you're still paying for it. The participation trophy, you are gifted still.
Oh, man.
Okay, we haven't done this in over a year. It is called Pitch That Movie.
Woohoo!
I am going to set up the scenario for you guys. Okay, so Kevin Tijahara, the head of Warner Brothers Studios, guys, he saw The Dishwasher. He saw Adjusting Honor, and her name was Samantha. He comes to us and goes, guys, I have a good feeling about you. I want you to make me a movie.
Okay.
There's 2 rules. Number 1, Lindsay Lohan and Ed Harris must be cast in it, which has been an ongoing joke with this game. And our release date is December 20th, 2019,
Ooh.
the same day as Star Wars Episode 9. Now, he gave us a weekend to come up with something, but we didn't do it. We partied too much. So now we're in the limo going to meet him, and we have to come up with a movie we're going to pitch him.
I think you just came up with it.
Huh?
I think you just came up with it.
Now, this is the thing. Okay, so what genre are we going to do?
We're going to do, I have an idea, unless you guys want to go.
Oh, go for it.
Go.
Go for it. Yeah, give us something, man.
I think a drama thriller, one hotel room. Ed Harris hires a prostitute who's Lindsay Lohan, but she has deeper intentions.
Okay, go. Okay,
And
so
Ed Harris is struggling with the early onset symptoms of Alzheimer's, and his reality is deteriorating throughout the film, and you're unsure what's real and what's fantasy.
now, do we know that going in? Is there like a scene when he finds this out?
I think we hint at it or plan to pay it off, where we could tell he's not all there.
Okay, like maybe he's got medicine that he takes or something?
Yeah, that works. That's good.
Okay, that's subtle. Okay, Larry?
Okay, actually, to add to that, so this hotel room is going to be his final place he ever sees.
Okay.
And the prostitute he's hired doesn't know. She's just a prostitute. So she's going to come in. He's got this whole elaborate plan set up.
Okay. I'm liking it. Now, Jordan, you were saying that she also has a plan, correct?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
she should.
Okay, so she comes in. She chose him because since Ed Harris can't remember stuff, he doesn't remember killing her friend.
Oh,
That's badass.
Okay.
Just,
So kind of like the movie Hard Candy a little bit.
just the night before, he was on the same block, on the same street, and he picked up her friend.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
And he thinks because of his Alzheimer's that he's just reliving this experience, but really it's a different girl this time. And we don't realize that until this thing takes a hard left into a genre like, pulpy, badass girl action movie.
Yeah. Okay, Larry?
Oh, man. Man, this is good. Oh,
This is the only serious one we've ever done.
I know.
Usually it's like funny
I
stuff.
know, and far out. But now it's like now it just got real.
Yeah.
Now I think, I think we start writing it.
Okay, so we've got this is all going on.
Oh wait, okay, hang on. This is a throwback to one of our very first. So he's sitting there in the chair, and Lindsay Lohan. We're looking at the window, and Lindsay Lohan is slowly gyrating. Slowly gyrating in silhouette. And as she dances a little bit closer to Ed Harris, he starts talking about demons.
Okay. Yes.
He starts talking about demons, and Lindsay Lohan is getting into it a little bit more. And she is right up. Her belly button is right in Ed Harris's face.
My biggest dream to happen one day.
And all of a sudden, he says, I've got to tell you something. And she's just like, yeah, she's into it. It's hot and heavy. It's hot and heavy. You can see the steam coming off Lindsay Lohan. She's into it. And all of a sudden he goes, I've been demon raped.
This goes back to Jordan to another thing we pitched. I'll tell you the story off mic because it's hilarious.
But here's the thing. Ed Harris, he confesses he's a man of the cloth.
Okay. You want to take this up, Jordan?
Yes, go.
So we have Ed Harris. So this whole time we think that or not the whole time, but about halfway through, it takes that hard left. We think that Lindsay Lohan is now playing him, right? And she's going to get her revenge for her friend. And then he says, I'm a man of the cloth. And we realize this is his plot to exorcise this demon out of Lindsay Lohan. That was somehow the friend from the night before. But the trigger word, is I've been demon raped. The demon recognizes this, has a really visceral reaction, tries to climb out of Lindsay Lohan, and then it's full out war in this small 400 square foot hotel room.
Okay, now the whole thing is he still has the dementia.
That's right.
So he's wondering what's going. He doesn't know if he should trust. Sometimes he's not sure if he should trust what's going on or not. And Lindsay Lohan's freaking out because as she's running from him after that, she finds her friend's body.
Oh, my God.
But it looks weird.
Oh, man. There's there.
Weird markings on it and stuff.
Yes. It's like her soul has been sucked, right? It's like
she kind of looks like, remember in The Ring when they find the girl in the closet that died? She looks like right now.
Okay.
Take it, Jordan.
And so Lindsay Lohan finds the body, and she's got to make an offering to this demon. The demon enters the friend's body, and take it, Larry.
Okay. So it enters back into her friend's body.
Yeah, I needed a new host because Lindsay Lohan was, I don't know, or it doesn't.
No.
I like this.
It should enter her friend's body, and she starts moving slowly.
But she doesn't know it entered her friend's body.
That's right.
That it went back into her friend.
That's right.
Yes.
And so she is now that her friend's moving, and it's dark, and it's just shadows, and all of a sudden her friend is moving. She thought she was dead, and she's like, oh my God, how only Lindsay Lohan could cry, and say, you've come back to me. Let's get out of here. And she pulls her up from the shadows, and her eyes are black.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
All people.
So now the friend starts going crazy in that room. So Lindsay Lohan runs out. Now she has to go to Ed Harris for help, but he's having one of his episodes
He
and
doesn't know
starts
where he is.
referring to her by his daughter's name.
Oh my God. That's so creepy. That's so scared. It's so sad.
So now we've got Lindsay Lohan trying to help Ed Harris remember that he's he's not a priest, he's just a pastor. We'll go that route.
Yep,
So that way he could have a child. And he's trying, she's trying to help him remember what he's here for, but he's having an episode. Take it, Jordan.
And we got to put a star to this friend role so we know who we're working with. Who plays the friend? Who do we got?
Bella Thorne.
Bella Thorne.
I just saw her in Assassination Nation, and she was pretty good.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so Bella Thorne is the friend Lindsay Lohan is running.
I just want to point out, by casting those two people, no studio would give us insurance to make it.
Yeah. That's why we combine it to one room.
Yeah.
So we can keep track of everyone, and the chaos will play well off camera and on camera. This is how we're selling it. And okay, so Bella Thorne is now taken aback, even in her demon form, that Ed Harris is yelling the name of his daughter and recognizes her as her daughter, and he then starts to experience the weird markings on his own body.
Ooh.
And we start to see him slowly gyrating and moving in unnatural ways. And now the demon is with Ed Harris.
Okay, so is Bella Thorne dead now?
I think Bella Thorne comes back to her natural self, even after being dead for whoever knows how long in the closet. She's back. She runs out. It's just Ed Harris alone in the hotel room. Climax of the film. Demons in him. Is his daughter real? Was there a daughter? Was there a prostitute? Was there a friend? Is he crazy? Is he a pastor? Or is he...
Ooh.
Yes.
Yes. So I was thinking, so now does Lindsay Lohan, the prostitute, have to exorcise the demon, or do we just end it like that?
Are
you still there, Jordan?
I am. I think we do the sequels with...
That's what I was... Yes.
Or we could end it like this.
End it like that, and then we open up in the sequels with the ladies, and we'll bring Ed Harris back.
Yes.
Because another thing we could do if we don't go to sequel route, Ed Harris wakes up and there's no one in the room at all.
Oh.
Is
real?
But there's a knock at the door.
Oh.
And he opens it, and it's Bella Thorne.
Okay.
We'll shoot both. We'll shoot both.
Right. Choose your own adventure movie.
Yeah.
And that is it, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice.
Wow. Normally, all of the pitched at movies have been kooky, funny stuff. This was actually the first, seriously good thought. Well, very first one we did, Larry, was a lot of fun, but this one is right up there.
Oh yeah, no, and this is one of the most serious that we could do.
We could actually,
That's awesome.
And that's it. Listen, guys, copyright Eric, Larry, and Jordan.
Right. Do the poor man. Wait, we should email this. We should just email that segment to us.
Copy the email chain with the virtual stand.
That's right.
Okay, now this is good counter programming to Star Wars Episode 9.
Oh, it's perfect. Who doesn't want to see Ed Harris, Lindsay Lohan, and Bella Thorne just tear each other up?
And demon rape. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
Star Wars what? Star who? What? What's that? No.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a lot of fun. Jordan, after the show, we usually talk a little bit, so don't go anywhere. Guys, this has been an awesome episode of Pitch That Movie and a great episode of the Something Something podcast. Everybody have a fantastic night, day, or weekend. So long.